You ever watch a superhero show and think, man, I wish this was disgustingly more violent? Well, buckle up. We're diving face first into the arterial spray of Invincible. This isn't your friendly neighborhood anything. This is a show where exploding heads, collapsed cities, and blood geysers are your typical Monday afternoon. Poor Mark. He just wanted to save lives and maybe just kiss a girl. But hey, happy 17th, buddy. You're now legally old enough to get your jaw dislocated by your own father. Hey, you even got a free ride through the subway. Oh, an Omni-Man? Yeah, I guess he's sort of like Superman. If Superman had a midlife crisis and joined a fascist space cult, he handles fatherhood like it was a UFC grudge match while having the most aggressive mustache on television. Welcome to Geeks from the Multiverse.
We're geeks from the multiverse. We've come to unite all geeks. Now it's time to get geeky and dive right in, 'cause we're geeks from the multiverse.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to our new episode talking about Invincible. I am Grumpy Beard. With me, as always, is Captain Mustache.
Hey, everybody. Yes, again. So, talking about Invincible and all this, I haven't watched a whole lot of this. I have seen like clips, certain pieces of it, of course, but like, I'm more curious to know more about it because I understand that, Matt and I have definitely, we've talked about, we are going to do it, of course, but we're, like the boys episode, right? And I understand it's not in the same realm, but it's definitely
Coming up in 2 episodes.
Yes, I like I said, I mean, because we've been talking about that for a while. But my point is like, with this show, it has that it not quite the same vibe. But I mean, yes, it is gory. It is, it's got its moments, like like the boys and whatnot. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like the boys might take the cake on that one.
Not quite as inappropriate, I would say.
Well,
yes.
I mean, we're talking animated versus live action, but it is what it is. So, anyways, let's dive. But actually, before we dive, I feel like we should do this real quick, man, because I feel like we haven't done this in a little bit. Little fist bump.
Fist bump.
Okay, ready. So I want you to follow. I want you to interact. I want you to subscribe, and I want you to tell your friends, baby. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that means you go on YouTube, you go on Spotify, you go on Amazon, you go wherever the hell you feel like, and you say, man, you're doing a great job. Because, it's funny, because Matt and I, we were just talking about this a little bit ago. We didn't realize that there was other podcasters that were like, hey, man, we like your stuff. They're commenting, they're doing this. And I'm like, hey, that's even better. I mean, some of these people, Matt was explaining to me, he was like, oh, yeah, they're like, could be from Minnesota. Could be, all parts of the different U.S. And I'm like, hey, hell yeah, man. Let's start connecting, man. This is great. I'm like, no offense, guys. We need that. We need that exposure. Matt and I have been talking about that for a long time now. So, again, if you have people that want to, let's do it.
Shout out to a couple of podcasts I've been listening to and talking to, which is Vigilante Vibes and Dork Wars. I've been following those guys. So
yeah, no, and so again, Captain Mustache, John over here, yes. So I'll probably be reaching out to you at least at some point because I know Matt was like, hey, you should probably coordinate this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'll probably be doing that. So yes, you'll probably get a message here at some point. So. But anyways, let's dive right in.
Yeah, so Invincible, if you don't already know, Ryan Kirkman, he's the guy from Walking Dead fame. He is the guy who wrote the comic book. It was also illustrated by Corey Walker and Ryan Otley, but it is published by Image Comics. The Image Comics universe also has another character that we've talked about in the past.
Yes, we have.
Spawn.
And wouldn't that be cool though to like see that kind of like a universal like team up or like crossover thing?
They haven't like officially have done crossovers, but Spawn is in that universe. So I mean, he currently exists. I think they've done books, but they haven't officially like Spawn hasn't been in a Invincible book, and Invincible hasn't been in a Spawn book, but they've done books where they've been like kind of like when DC does their like big, like, multiverse, like kind of war thing, like Infinite Crisis, like those types of things. Yeah. They had a book that was kind of like that in their Image Comics universe. their ICU, which is which
Well,
is
yeah, the
kinda like-
ICU. You're like, oh,
Oh,
okay,
oh,
go
boy.
for it.
But they've done books like that where, multiple characters are all kind of in the same thing, but they've never really officially done like a crossover. But I mean, other characters, some of these are in Invincible. Like, I mean, obviously, Invincible, Omni-Man, Adam Eve, they're all in Invincible. But there are incarnations of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're also Image Comics.
See, I forgot about that. That's what I was about to tell you. I was like,
Yeah.
I totally forgot that would be cool to see like an episode or something like that. Have them come in and do that. I highly doubt it'll ever happen, but unless they do it,
I don't think that would happen. But Witchblade is also one of theirs too. Witchblade is not as popular, but it's
I think I've heard of it. It just it's not like
it's not as popular. Yeah. Some of these I've never really heard of, and I think like Savage Dragon or Gert. I've never heard of.
Hey,
I've never
Gert,
heard
where
of-
you going?
Hey,
Or-
Gert.
Or the bomb queen, yeah. I don't know.
Hey, Gert. Hey, Gert.
Hey, Gert. Don't let's not get started because
Hey, Gert.
Hey, Gert. Oh, hey. Anyways, let's not. No, because we might be doing something later, but we'll see.
We'll see. So the series began publication on January 22nd of 03. And then it came to a close on actually Valentine's Day of 2018.
Mm.
And it has 144 issues. And basically it follows the coming of age superhero Mark Grayson / Invincible. He's a half human, half Viltrumite, firstborn son of Omni-Man. And he is the first, the most powerful superhero on Earth. So that's kind of that's a very that's like a very basic, summary.
Description.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a very basic description. I mean, it's much deeper than that, but it did come to a close with the 144 issues. I think even in The Walking Dead, I want to say Glenn is wearing an Invincible t-shirt in that show.
Really? And
Yeah.
wait a minute, you're talking about the comic books?
No, in the actual show.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all. I don't remember him wearing the shirt.
I believe he's wearing the shirt. If he isn't, then somebody else is in the show. There's somebody in the show that is wearing the shirt.
Was it like in the later seasons, or was it like?
I don't know exactly where it was, but I know somebody in the show was wearing one. So, I mean, just a cool kind of Easter egg
Yeah.
in there.
Shit, I guess.
I mean, it's been out since 2003, so, it's been out since before The Walking Dead, I believe.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you'd have to look that up again because I'm pretty sure that I thought it was actually no. No, you're right. I think this was probably before The Walking Dead. But anyways, yeah, that's neither here or there.
So, a little bit on the plot. So, to kind of summarize, I'm not going to dive in too deep, but just to summarize. So, Omni-Man is Mark's father. This isn't like his Viltrumite name, but on Earth, his name is Nolan Grayson. He is Omni-Man on Earth. That's his superhero name is Omni-Man.
Right.
He is a secret member of this alien race called the Viltrumites. They are basically a very powerful, conquering race. And Nolan was sent to Earth to be a scout. He was there to scout out Earth to basically get it ready, if you will, to be conquered. That's basically why he was sent to Earth in the first place.
Yeah, makes sense.
Mark ends up developing his powers right when he turns 17 and begins training with his father. Again, these are very just basic points. Like, we're not going through, one of these things that he was training. Like, basically his dad beats the crap out of him. And that whole thing I did right in the beginning of the show where he takes a ride through the subway is his father literally holding him by the neck, facing a oncoming subway car.
Oh, lovely.
Yes. If that's training, good luck.
I mean,
to you.
sure, if that's what you want to call it.
Good luck to you. But he learns the responsibilities of being a superhero, faces various villains and various threats. One of the major turning points in the series is when Omni-Man brutally, and I'm talking brutally, murders remember the Guardians of the Globe, which is kind of like, I guess, Invincible's versions of, I guess, like you would say, the Avengers.
Yeah.
They're kind of like the hero team.
Makes sense.
It really reveals Omni-Man's like true allegiance to the Viltrumites and his mission to prepare Earth for conquest. I mean, when we're talking brutally murdering them, like he rips one in complete half, like just shoulder to shoulder, just rip, like rips them right. Like it's so brutal. Like it's just awful. Mark struggles at this point. Like he has to confront his father because, well, Mark is the only one on the planet who is also a Viltrumite, even though he's half Viltrumite. He really grapples with the knowledge that his father is not a hero, that he is actually this villain. And he has to join forces with other heroes really to try to beat his father and resist this Viltrumite empire. And this is kind of where like basically the show kind of like the whole series just kind of goes. He deals with, this is where, you know, you see other heroes, I guess, doing this, like Spider-Man in Marvel, like, you know,
okay.
you know, you
Sorry,
have
I was like, he was in this movie or the show. I was like,
no, like,
damn.
you know, like Marvel, you have like, you know,
Talking about like Civil War. In that sense.
like Spider-Man deals with the challenges of like normal teenage life, like relationships, like school, family issues, and then trying to juggle your superhero duties and you know, family struggles and all this other stuff. So
I mean, his is a little bit more of a struggle since, you know.
yeah. I mean, especially like when you watch. I mean, if you really watch the show and you read, I haven't read the comics, but the comics are a little. I mean, they're just as graphic as the show is.
I'm not surprised, especially if that's the case. But yeah,
but he definitely is very much like a weaker character in the really beginning, and as
talking about Mark and not
Mark, yes,
yeah.
As he grows into, you know, Invincible and who he's meant to be, he does get a little bit stronger. But man, this kid gets his ass kicked almost every fight. Like, it's really awful.
I mean,
like it's really awful, and somehow he does come out on top, like some of the time. But like, it's really just, he becomes like more powerful. He becomes more strategic, I think, like when he's doing things. But there's really it builds up into the third season where he faces like this character named Conquest. And Conquest is actually voiced by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, which is interesting because Invincible is voiced by Stephen Yeun.
Oh no shit! I did not know. That's cool.
So you have a character. You have these two characters who are also in Walking Dead.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, technically Jeffrey Dean kicked the shit out of fucking
right
Stephen Yeun, but yes.
And in season 3, he does the very same thing.
Does he really? He does the same thing. Oh, does he have Lucille too? And just fucking beats the shit out of him.
Well, he doesn't need Lucille because Conquest is another Viltrumite, and he comes down to Earth to do what basically Nolan
was supposed to do,
and you know. Basically, Mark kind of steps in the way and goes, "You're not going to do that. Like, I'm not going to let you." And Conquest is like, "You don't have a choice. Like, you can either die or you can let me go through you." And not that kind words. I mean, basically, they were a lot worse than that. But basically, he almost does go through him, and it's such a brutal fight. Like, it's completely brutal.
I'm going to have to watch this just to kind of get an understanding of that piece of it. But yeah.
But it's a really, really, really good show. It's not one of those like shows where you're going to watch it and you're expecting, you know, DC level or Marvel level filters.
Okay.
Like you're getting
Raw.
brutal fights. You're getting swearing. You're getting like.
It just reminds me of the Spawn. If that's the case, it would be like the Spawn like first episode animated series. When it just shows the living shit out of like people.
Yes.
To beat
The only
fuck- I
thing,
mean, granted, that's
the only
different.
difference is like you're just not getting like the boobs and the asses and the, you know what I mean? Like you're not getting the nudity and the inappropriate stuff.
Right.
But you are getting like the swearing, and it's just the level of brutality that's in the show is, I would say it's probably more than what I would say was in Spawn.
Wow, that's surprising, especially because Spawn, it's up there.
I'll say like when you see Omni-Man or Conquest or any of these guys, like when they're ripping somebody or they're like punching through somebody's head, like you see the gristle and the bone, and it's like it's so. And when I say blood geysers, yes, it's absolutely like brutal. There was a character, and I don't recall her name off the top of my head. I might have it listed. Duplicate.
Okay.
Her actual name is Kate Cha. But
Not
basically
surprising.
what she does is she can make duplicates of herself. It's in her name, and I get it. I'm not assuming anybody else is dumb.
I know, but I kind of figured that was the case.
She makes duplicates of herself. So when she goes out on a mission, basically she doesn't herself go. She makes duplicates, and they go. Because obviously, if she goes and then everyone dies,
Right.
then she's kind of fucked.
I guess it is. It's a great, like, in some ways it's cool to have that power, but at the same time, yes. I guess in this world, no.
But this is where, I think she was going up against Invincible.
Oh boy.
Because she was a villain at one point in one of the episodes, but she was going up against Invincible, who was already like angry. And you're talking about like he's half Viltrumite, so like we're gonna talk about like what exactly why they're so tough. But you're talking like it was a like slaughter fest. Like she can make her duplicates can make duplicates. So you're talking
God.
He's ripping them in half, like arms flinging, legs flinging, bodies like parts are flinging. Like it was
God damn.
like there's blood flinging everywhere. Like, and she just kept making copies and copies and copies, and he's punching through them.
Well, how long does this go on for?
They were fighting on like these like long stairs, but it was like when they were finally done, and like they, I think a couple of characters were like, they were like portal jumping or time jumping or something.
Mm-hmm.
They finally like grabbed one of them and like time jumped away, and they got away. But when they did like the long shot away, there had to be like hundreds of them just ripped apart, and like it was like, holy crap! Like he literally just like ripped the crap out of all of these duplicates, and I was like, okay,
okay, I like this show bang. Okay.
But I do like, its realistic portrayal. Like I think it's realistic side of what you're looking at really gives like a fresh take, because when you're looking at like a super powered person like Invincible or like Omni-Man, that's what I would expect to see. If you're watching DC or you're watching Thor and you get hit by Thor's hammer, I would expect that shit to go through your face, not just to hit it.
Well, so like when you even look at Superman, right, and being a Kryptonian and all this, it's that same idea. Like if you're getting knocked the hell out, this is exactly what I would think. You would think that your ass is either, if you get hit, either your head's going to explode and your whole body's going to outer space, kind of a deal,
right?
Or
So, one of the differences, like in a DC kind of world, or this would be like DC or Marvel, and I would say like a Thor / Superman type character. Okay.
Yep.
If they were to take you're robbing a bank or whatever, and they pick you up and throw you through the wall,
Well, you should have been dead right there.
You would basically go through the wall. You would land and be probably unconscious. That's how they would show it, right? And then the police would come and you would be like, like all banged up and maybe a broken arm or whatever. In this show, if they did that same thing, say Omni-Man or Invincible or any of these other characters, threw you up against that wall, one, they would probably literally show like all of your bones breaking with the sheer force of them throwing you through the wall.
Mm-hmm.
But not only would they not stop at that point, but they probably would go over to you and still pick you up and they'd probably keep throwing you through walls until you were probably done and not moving, or you were
not even that, you would be dead. I mean, I feel like after
until your body was maybe like a blood mist.
Yeah, and you were nothing.
That's Invincible.
Well, and that's what I mean. It's crazy to see a show like this where, you know, you're getting that raw, that, you know, kind of like realistic expectation of like what a superhero, especially of that strength, of that, you know, capability to be doing something like that. And I mean, yeah, I mean, if you were to take DC, and of course we've talked about Marvel too. I mean, DC, yes, has always been known to be technically darker of the two, but at the same time, DC would never go on the lengths of, I would say, go that far. I mean, they've done maybe certain things with like animated stuff, but live action, they would never.
And I get I do get the audience. I mean, obviously Marvel and DC, like they have their younger audiences. So I do get the audience. Like you don't want to necessarily show, you know, a bank robber getting, you know,
smashed the shit out of, basically.
Yeah, being turned into a blood mist just for robbing a bank, because then that would, you know.
Well, I mean, here's the thing though, right? And I'm going to say it. I mean, if we're going to talk about that, I mean, then talk about all the damn video games that are nowadays in like Mortal Kombat and shit like that. I mean, not quite as bad as this, clearly, but I mean, like I said, Mortal Kombat, that shows a hell of a lot more shit than I would say most games as a whole. So unless they came out with a Invincible game, that would be, oh God, I feel like that would be even worse. But anyways.
So I'm gonna, I mean, some of the characters, we're gonna talk about some of the characters. I'm gonna skip down to some of these.
Wow, you're gonna skip?
I'm gonna skip all the way down past Monster Girl to some of these ones right in the middle, because some of these are interesting, and you'll start seeing a theme to some of these. And
already starting to see a theme here.
I know you would. And just with the name of these, I think you'll start seeing the theme. And so I'm going to just start, and I'm going to read them real fast. And you listening at home, you'll see a theme.
I'm definitely seeing one.
So one of them is Darkwing. He's a powerless member of the original Guardians of the Globe. He was killed by Omni-Man, by the way, but he was basically a homage to Batman.
Don't say.
War Woman.
Yeah. Hey, hold on. Very original.
Right? Another member of the original Guardians of the Globe with superhuman strength, who was a homage to
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, killed by Omni-Man.
No shit.
All of these were killed by Omni-Man, by the way.
Just figured we point that out.
Just figured we point that out, so I don't have to say that again. Aquarius. I wonder who he's like.
Aquarius.
He's a fish-like member of the original Guardians of the Globe with from Atlantis with aquakinesis, John.
Oh, aquakinesis.
Aquakinesis.
Let me guess, a homage to Aquaman.
There it is.
Killed by Omni-Man.
This one's the most original of all of them. Other than Martian Man, but Red Rush.
Yeah, baby.
Oh boy. Joseph is a member of the original Guardians of the Globe. Superhuman speed.
Oh, let me guess. He pays homage to who?
The Flash.
Hey, your favorite character.
The Green Ghost.
Ooh. Does he?
He's a ghost-themed member of the original Guardians of the Globe.
But doesn't homage this one. It parodies.
It's a parody
of the Green Lantern.
And then, last but not least, Martian Man. He's a shape-shifting member of the Guardians of the Globe from Mars.
No shit. And his homage, or whatever you want to call it, is of course Martian the Manhunter.
So this is one of the things that Invincible has done. And they're not like, I mean, these ones are, they're either homages or they're parodies or they're satires. It is sort of like The Boys, but a lot of these are, I mean, you can look at Omni-Man and be like, Omni-Man, Superman, they're very similar.
I mean, besides that.
But I mean, they don't have the same powers.
Right.
Because Omni-Man does not have laser vision. He does not, they do not have the same weaknesses. They're not quite the same.
Right.
But you can almost say they're similar in nature.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They both have, superhuman strength and speed and stamina, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But Guardians of the Globe. Again, they're basically the protectors of the Earth. They're like the Avengers and Justice League. They're Guardians of the Globe. They're basically the same type of team. One of the leader of the Guardians of the Globe is the Immortal. He is currently married to Duplicate.
No kidding.
And he can resurrect himself as long as most of his body parts are near each other.
Now, what if they weren't?
Well, then he can't. But
then he's dead.
As long as he has most of his body parts, he can resurrect. He can resurrect himself. But he was a Celtic warrior who got exposed to a meteor radiation that gave him his powers. Black Samson, Marcus Grimshaw. He has super strength. Rexplode. He's one of the main characters, I would say, in the show. You see him most of the time, like a lot of the time in the show. He's a former member of the Teen Team and Guardians of the Globe. He can make objects explode by charging them with kinetic energy. What does that sound like?
Well, they can charge things and basically blow them up?
Yeah.
I don't know where you're going with it, but I mean, it's not going to be in Marvel. I can tell you that.
Sounds like an X-Men.
Oh, that would be shit. I'm trying to remember who. It's a dude.
Yeah, wasn't Deadpool and Wolverine?
Which one was it?
Channing Tatum.
Oh, Gambit. Sorry, I was like, where the hell are we going with? Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah,
but he received the ability as a child from Black Ops government experiments. So yeah, he's able to make objects explode by charging them. So basically, it's kind of the same ability, kinetic energy. Basically, he can grab an item, charge it up, and then he can
throw it at you.
He can, but he has his own. I think he has things like in a belt like that.
Something that he can just take off and throw. And then this one, Monster Girl.
Yeah, so she is actually a little girl.
Oh, really?
She was cursed by a gypsy, so she basically shapeshifts into a large ogre-like creature who has superhuman strength and invulnerability. Again, who does that sound like?
If we're talking about a little girl.
Not the little girl, but the shapeshifting into an ogre-like creature with superhuman strength and invulnerability. Who do we know that shapeshifts into a creature?
Oh, you're talking about the Hulk. Okay,
yes.
Yeah, okay.
But the thing with Monster Girl is every time she does shapeshift, she regresses in age.
Oh.
In the show.
I see.
So
now, this next one, I don't understand the name because I'm just looking at it real quick and I'm like, could they have not chosen another name for this particular character? Matt?
The voice for the character actually is Seth Rogen.
Are you? Oh,
God. I kid you not.
Hold on. Does he do the laugh too?
I don't think he does the laugh. No.
Damn it! I was hoping that he would. So it's Alan the Alien.
Yes.
So this guy, he's a previously a champion evaluation officer who worked for the Coalition of Planets. He tested the skills of various powered heroes on each planet in order to determine if there was a suitable champion. Who could actually defeat a Viltrumite. He was born in a breeding program after his race was almost eradicated by the Viltrumites, and he was bred to hopefully be able to defeat a Viltrumite and was the only successful child born of the program. But why the hell is your name Alan the Alien? And could it have made you know what I mean? That just seems weird to me.
It's just what it's called in the comic book.
I
So
get
that's
it.
just
It's
what his name
I
is.
mean, shit, you couldn't have picked a better name. Fuck, I mean,
But yes, that's basically like what. And we're not going through every. I mean, there's a lot of characters in this in this book, but there's a lot of characters. But he is one of the, he is one of the normal characters that's in the story. But yes, he basically does look for a suitable candidate that could defeat a Viltrumite, because basically that's what the Viltrumites do. I mean, they have their own empire. They are a warlike empire. They have like their own planet that they're on, but they basically go planet to planet and they conquer. That's all they do. So he looks for anybody who basically could defeat just one Viltrumite. And there isn't one.
before we go any further, Wheel of Chaos.
I don't even have that app open, Joe.
Well, then you should have opened it before we started, because you knew damn well at some point it was going to happen.
I do have Facebook open, though.
Oh, of course, he's got one other thing open, but he doesn't have the actual app that he should have had open from the beginning. And ready?
I gotta open the dang
well,
app.
God damn, man, you're making this less dramatic than it needs to be.
All
Damn it.
right.
Anyways, Wheel of Chaos.
I don't even know if I updated this thing.
Well, oh,
see
Jesus
this. Okay.
Christ. All right. You're not going to do the Wheel of Chaos. Not going to do that? Come on now. You got to do it now.
Wheel of Chaos.
That's right.
There it is.
Now, let's see what Matt gets. Because now he gets to do an impression of whatever the hell it is while we talk about good old allies. Oh, I can't wait. He's smirking. This is good. Oh, what is it? What is it?
I got deep voice mode.
Oh, God damn it. Okay, good luck with that.
Well, my voice is already deep, so I guess I just gotta keep talking like this. Just talking to real.
First of all, why do you
Just
sound...
real. I don't know why I have an accent.
First of all, you sound like Forrest Gump. That's what you were sounding like there for a minute.
Stupid is, stupid does, sir.
Life is like a box of chocolates there,
Life is like a box of chocolates.
You never know what you want. You go get.
So I'm going to just keep talking like this. I don't know why I have an accent, but it seems easier for me to talk like a deep voice with an accent.
Okay, well, you got to talk about that allies, you know what I'm saying?
So the Global Defense Agency is a secret government organization run out of the Pentagon that tries to stop threats to the Earth and operates... I'm talking like a robot, god damn it. And operates multiple superhero teams, including the Guardians of the Globe. So Cecil Stedman is a government liaison and head of the clandestine Global Defense Agency. He has a mercurial relationship with Mark and Eve as he prioritizes Earth's safety above all else, and will go to questionable and dubious ends in order to make sure that happens. So Eve is the girl that he goes to high school with. In the comic book, she is also Adam Eve, Atom, Adam Eve. So yes. And I'm stopping that voice because it's been way too much time.
Oh, has it been? Oh, okay.
Yes.
I was wondering because at one point everyone's like, what are you doing? Why are you talking normally again?
So, yes, Cecil Stedman, he's the basically the head of this global defense agency. And if you I guess if you went to, Marvel or DC, there's an agency just like this in all of those types of comic books. Like they basically just work to try to save Earth from all threats, whether it's the Guardians, whether it's aliens, whether it's whatever. They don't prioritize any other, if it's Omni-Man or if it's Invincible or if it's a Viltrumite, empire, they don't care. But he will go to whatever lengths it is to stop. So even if it's like, if he gives Mark an order and he disobeys it, he will go to whatever lengths it is to stop Mark from doing whatever Mark is going to be doing. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
even if Mark is like, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to save this planet.
Mm.
Cecil will go, no, you're not. And will go to whatever lengths he will to stop him to do whatever he wants to do. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like where he'll go with that.
Okay.
Donald Ferguson, he's an android. He's a robot, basically. Makes multiples of himself. So every time, every time, like you see him kind of get destroyed, like there's another one that kind of pops up.
Oh, sounds like he's Palpatine.
But he's Cecil's assistant. He's a he's basically the Guardians of the Globe contact. So whenever they contact the defense agency, they contact Ferguson.
Gotcha.
Samantha Eve Wilkins, she's Adam Eve, becomes a former classmate of Mark's when he graduates. Member of the teen team. Eve was created as a result of a government experiment to create a human superweapon for the military. She was born with an extensive knowledge of biological and chemical sciences and can manipulate all matter on a molecular level. That also sounds like someone else too. Actually, from DC though.
What, Adam? Well,
more like Dr. Manhattan.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying there.
Although a neural mental block was implanted while she was a fetus that stops her from manipulating living animals and other beings. But in the event of a severe enough or near fatal trauma, she's able to break her mental block and her powers are bolstered to nigh omnipotent levels for a few seconds. This actually happens on a few occasions in the show.
Oh.
And it's pretty much, you could almost say it is that Dr. Manhattan level, like, power. Like,
Okay.
But she is able to, I mean, you can almost say she can manipulate matter, and I would almost say, like, yes, she can create things on a physical level.
Yeah.
Like, she can literally make a box and you're
shove you in it and be like,
you'd be in a metal box.
That'd be great. Yeah.
And then shrink that metal box into like a nothing.
Yeah. Basically, you're dead. You're not even.
And she's done that, on a couple occasions in the show.
Oh, lovely.
Where she's made this box and the guy was in the box and then it just goes
and you're gone.
And it's just nothing. It's just there's nothing in the box anymore. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, he's
okay,
gone.
cool. Let's talk enemies.
Oh, so what about this Mahler twins, huh?
So the Mahler twins are these like really super strong blue genius scientist characters. They're evil. They argue with each other all the time. They don't know which one is the original because one of them is an original, one of them is cloned.
And so they actually have no idea, both of
So
them?
they actually have no idea which one's a clone, but one was perfected using cloning technology. They continuously argue to which one's the original. But their rivalry drives their passion to create more and more advanced technology. So that's basically what they do is like a lot of times in the show, like these enemies will commission them like, hey, we need you guys to create this for me. Gotcha. And basically they'll come in and they'll make this like huge contraption.
Okay.
But they'll like argue and
like, you're the idiot. No, I'm the idiot. What? You're the idiot. Yeah.
Angstrom Levy, he's one of the main villains in one of the seasons, in multiple seasons actually. But he becomes a genius with the ability to create portals to other universes.
Oh wow.
He becomes one of like the main arch enemies, like I said. But in an attempt to amass a huge amount of knowledge about the multiverse that he believes he'll be able to use to better his world, he builds a machine with the aid of the Mahler twins that connects him to the mind of every Angstrom Levy in every universe.
That is insane. I've never even heard of that. And that's fucking insane when you were doing that. Wow.
So so that just to amass a huge amount of knowledge about the multiverse, the Mahler twins build him a machine that connects his mind to every other angstrom levy from every universe. That's, yeah.
Again, that's fucking insane.
Right.
That's asinine. I mean, it's like, wow. I mean, and then you got, of course, the Viltrumites.
The Viltrumites. Invincible and Omni-Man species. Obviously, they're known conquerors of different planets. Thrag is one of them. He's the Grand Regent of the Viltrum Empire. He was, after being deposed by Omni-Man, killed. Well,
So they say.
so they say. He goes rogue and seeks vengeance on Omni-Man. He basically was thrown out of power.
Okay.
But he seeks vengeance on Omni-Man and his family. Conquest. We've kind of talked about him a little bit already.
Yep.
The description was elderly, but he's clearly not elderly when you watch him in the third season. He's a battle-scarred member of the Viltrum Empire, clearly a psychopath. He relishes in fighting and killing those who oppose the Empire. He's one that they basically would send out and clean up.
Okay.
You know what? It's like,
So
Nolan made a mess on Earth. Go clean it up.
So I'm only going to use the military humor, but it's like what they do is for, I'll say, war purposes, right? So they always send the Marines out first to fuck shit up, and then they always then send out the army to kind of clean up the shit. So that's what he is. He's just like, oh, I'm just the fucking army, man. I'm just going to clean up your shit that you just left all over the fucking place. So yeah, I mean, I guess that would,
Yeah.
someone like him, but
General Craig, Kregg. Craig. A member of the Viltrumites who possesses a cybernetic right eye.
what does that sound like? Wait, hold on. Who does that sound like? Matt.
I don't have a cybernetic eye.
No, because you always kept asking me what it sounds like. It reminds me of a little bit of Odin, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. We'll see.
He takes this
Yeah,
guy.
that's how. You know what? This next
You know
part,
what?
Odyssey is Odin.
on.
You know what? There you go.
This guy though is a real piece of shit though. I'm going to say this right now. Because one thing, he takes. He's a player.
Clearly,
but he's more than that.
he's a piece of shit player. I mean, that's
He's-
just
But he takes too many lovers when the Viltrumites relocate to Earth, and not realizing that that humans practice monogamy. He ends up loving all of the women that he is with,
Mhm.
and ends up having many children with them.
Well, I mean, I don't know how many people that he was with, but I mean, I'm assuming it's gonna be up there.
So when I say that, keep that in the back of your mind. Just like
Okay.
a little mustard seed. Just keep that in the back of your mind when we start talking about Omni-Man, which is coming up in just a little bit,
Okay,
because there's a little nugget of information,
about him.
not about him in particular, but about that little phrase that I just said about him taking many lovers and having many children. That you'll get a little bit more information, and then you'll be like, oh, now I understand why you say he's a piece of shit.
Okay,
You'll get a little bit more information, and it'll be like, oh, okay.
okay, motherfucker.
And then you have the alternative Mark Graysons. These were the ones from the parallel universes. They were evil versions of Mark from, they basically blamed Mark for, killing, their father, and one was the mother. And then, they basically all had different reasons for hating Mark. So they all were, it was basically, Angstrom Levy that brought them all to that one Earth so that they could all have their revenge on that one Mark.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So,
And then
and then the main guy,
Omni-Man.
Omni-Man. So this is where I say if you remember that one thing, so Omni-Man, he's a Viltrumite, like we have been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to tell you about what it's like being a Viltrumite, because if you haven't watched the show or you don't know what a Viltrumite is, these are some of the things that, about their powers, about how they were raised, and a little bit about, there's a web series called Death Battle that they did with Omni-Man versus a couple people. But as a Viltrumite, basically they're taught to treat their mates as nothing more than entertainment or pets to use for breeding or for fun. So there's no love for a woman. Like there's no on Viltrum, which is their planet, which is why they're why they're Viltrumites. There's no room for love. So as far as women, you don't love a woman. They were to be used and discarded or used for breeding, and that's it.
Again, used and abused, because that's really what it is right now.
Which I'm sure led to a lot of women being sexually assaulted, beating, and killed.
I mean, I get this next part because, I mean, yeah, like having very close to like a Spartan society in that sense. I mean, I could see that. And then, I mean, if you really want to get technical, I mean, I guess in some cultures, I mean, where it's still practiced in some ways. If you think about it now,
I mean, the old school Asian cultures, like if they didn't have a boy,
well, that's exactly what I was going to say. If they have a boy, then they're great. If
and this
not,
is where the Spartan societies were the same. I mean, if they didn't have a perfect boy child, they discarded the child.
Yeah, they usually threw them off cliffs and shit. I mean, they didn't give a shit. They were like,
so I'm assuming that on Viltrum, if the child was not male or perfect, like they probably would discard it like this.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the woman. If the woman was no longer able to breed or, have children,
they're done.
See ya.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So the other thing is they're raised as warriors from birth and have no comprehension of what like genuine parental love is like. So children are raised as warriors with discipline, punishment, and cruelty. So there's no Viltrumites raising children. When they have children, they're probably put into camps.
Either that or they're just fucking...
And they're raised as warriors. They're raised to survive. They're raised in discipline, punishment, and cruelty. That's it. That's all they know from the moment you're born to the moment you die.
That is basic. That sounds just like a Spartan society right there.
That's it. That's all you know. And they live thousands of years. The longer they live, the slower they age. So some of the powers, strength, speed, senses, stamina, their lung capacity, they can actually hold their breath for weeks.
Okay. They can easily win a contest by doing that, but yeah.
Healing factor, reactive adaptation, and so nigh invulnerability and flight.
At first I thought you said night, and I was like, yeah, that doesn't seem right. I was like, night. I'm like, what is invulnerability at night? But okay.
So it's, I mean, there's, from what I was reading, they have some, and I don't know if it's like, in the comic books or if it's not, or if, somebody was just saying, but they have some kind of like a smart molecule within their DNA which is where the reactive adaptation and the invulnerability takes place, where, the more they fight and the more, damage that they take and the more, they have to give, like the more, that they have to do, the more like invulnerable that they become.
So basically Invincible, when he gets beat the shit out of, I mean, I would assume that he's gaining that invulnerability in some ways.
Well, I think Invincible is different because he still has half human.
True, but I mean, he still has at least some of that invulnerability.
To a point, yes.
So basically, it sucks for him because yes, even though he's
It
half
sucks for
human,
him because it probably takes longer
to
to-
regenerate.
for the healing factor and for the invulnerability. He still has the invulnerability, but it probably takes longer because he has that human part of him
Right.
too.
then,
But
yeah.
with Omni-Man, there's a part of his DNA that is reactive to damage and reactive to the situation, and he's able to almost like switch it when he needs to. In fights where, I think if he needs that extra strength or that extra speed, it's sort of like he can access it somehow. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, it's one of those things like you want to say like, is Omni-Man really overpowered? And I almost want to say yes, because we had this conversation before on the phone when we were talking, and whether or not I do think that Omni-Man could beat Thor and Hulk and
Actually, we didn't have this conversation on the phone. We were talking in person.
oh, were we?
Yeah,
Well,
it was last week.
Well, either way, I mean, whether we had it in person or on the phone, we still had the conversation. But
True.
I do think he would still win against a lot of those characters. Do I think it'll be a fight? Yes, I do think it would still be a heck of a fight.
You're clearly going to see him being on top of them, plain and simple. I mean, no, but I agree though. I mean,
one of the things about Superman though is Superman doesn't kill.
Well,
So
I mean,
that's a major thing about Superman is that he won't kill
Well-
Omni-Man, but Omni-Man is gonna go for the throat.
Well,
He's gonna go for the jugular 100% of the time.
I mean, so hold on. So I mean, Superman in a sense. I mean, yes, you are right. He doesn't aim to kill. I get that, but he would have to really seriously take a look at him and be like, do I do this or do I not? Because I mean, literally, it's going to be like, is it my head or is it going to be his head? Because that's where it is. I mean, because I understand that when you have a warrior like discipline and you're trained to basically be this killer. Oh, you son of a bitch! You son of a bitch! He's like, wheel. Hold on, go ahead and play it again. Here we go.
Wheel of chaos.
All right, here we go.
All right, I'm
really
spinning the wheel.
Every time I've ever gotten anything, I've sucked at it. So I pray to God this one time I get
All
something
right.
at least good. Go for
I'm
it.
spinning the wheel.
Spinning the wheel. Here we go. Please tell me, for the love of God, I'm going to get something good. I had a strange feeling he was going to do this. Please give me something good because I don't want to sound like an idiot. Ta-da! What do we get?
You got redneck.
It was about, oh boy. I don't know where that fucking came from, but
Wow.
redneck. Yeah, okay. I'll tell you what, boy. Okay. Here we go. Let me see. Where are we at?
Death battle.
Death battle. Yes, hold on. Sorry. Yes, so so I'll tell you what, son. I mean, this web series, this death battle, did 2 episodes on Omni-Man versus Homelander, and then Omni-Man versus Bardock, which is Goku's father and whatnot, and from Dragon Ball Z, and they analyzed both fighters and strengths and weaknesses, and they determined who would win. In this case, Omni-Man. Or sorry, wow, I don't know what I was just trying to say there. And, Omni-Man was going to win both fights, I tell you what, son. So, I mean, it's just crazy to me that he's this overpowered when he shouldn't be, because, like, when you look at both of these characters, right, you look at Homelander, I mean, I really don't know Bardock as well. But when you look at Homelander, though, I mean, I was like, man, I thought he'd beat the shit out of him, too, or at least put up a fight. But clearly, in this battle, he did not do jack shit in that regard. I thought, he was going to do that, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Well, I just want to say that, yeah, that kind of a deal.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, you better be,
Omni-Man, I mean, I think he didn't quite put up a fight in the episode right out of the gate. I mean, it's one of those things like Homelander being Homelander. Like, because I don't know if you watched the death battle at all, but
No, I had not.
because they do like an animated cartoony type of thing with with the death battle like scene. So Omni-Man was already in Nolan's house. And so, Omni-Man comes in and he's in the Omni-Man, garb and everything. And, he's in there like eating a bag of chips or something. And, he greets him and Nolan like looks over and his wife is like a cinder. Like Homelander burned the shit out of his wife. So
That's some fucked up shit right there, I tell you what, son.
And Homelander's just doing his thing. If you know anything about Homelander, like he's just talking his shit and he goes over and he like kisses the side of her cheek and like, oh yeah, he's just being a sick fuck, like
Okay, I gotta stop with that voice, but that's fucked up on so many levels right now.
And basically Omni-Man's like, I am going to kill you. Like you are going to die. And Homelander's like, oh yeah, like you
think you're so tough, huh?
he's like you can try, like go ahead, like you can try, but it's not gonna work.
And
like
then clearly
he clearly like underestimates Omni-Man, but like they fight and like they're trading blows back and forth, and it's I think Omni-Man's like not really trying, but like I think like he really punches Homelander like just right in the face and like breaks his nose and he starts bleeding. And Homelander's kind of like, oh crap, like this is not
a lot worse than I thought.
This is a lot worse than I thought. And so, he gets really mad and pissed off and goes right in for Omni-Man. And, they start trading blows back and forth. And then Homelander goes right for the heat vision, burns out Omni-Man's eyes. And this is where, Omni-Man like just goes ballistic and just like rips his arms off. And it's just, it does not go very far from there.
I do need to see this though, but yeah.
It does not go very far after that. Basically, Homelander just does not make it very far after that. Yeah, so, and I think that's probably exactly how the Superman fight would go too. Because I think Homelander and Superman are pretty well matched, like, side by side.
I know, but this is where, like I said, unless Superman was gonna like really take a step back and then be like, all right, is it gonna be me or him? I don't know. And like I said, I understand that they simulated the battle and they were drawing at him, and trying to figure it out. It's just it's hard, you know what I mean? Because like if you really gave it a fair shot, let's say Superman was like, you know what, it's either me or him, kind of a deal. I think you take Homelander and Superman and I think you can trade them back and forth and I think it'd be the same result. But I think you have to take into consideration Omni-Man being well over 1,000 years old and being, primary. I mean, yeah, he lived on Earth probably for 17 years, maybe a little bit longer than that. Probably a little longer. Especially if he had a kid.
But he also lived over 1,000 years
previously, yeah.
Primarily as a warrior conquering planets. He's fought countless other races.
Right. So I mean, yes, he's well rehearsed, well traveled, and everything else. So
so he's clearly a well trained, well fought fighter.
Well, and
Omni-Man and I mean Homelander clearly isn't a fighter at all.
Well, so the way I look at this too, and this is the reason why I thought that Thor would be another good option because again, we're talking Thor, who's the older he gets, the more he ages, like the stronger he gets, all that stuff. So it's like kind of like with him, with Omni-Man in the sense like yes, the older he ages and he becomes more invulnerable. Has his powers for so long. So it's like, that's where I thought those two would be kind of like a very evenly matched, kind of in that sense. You know what I'm saying? Because
I think Omni-Man still wins that fight. I still think it'll be more of a fight than Homelander, but I do think, and even like Ghost Rider, unless Ghost Rider really had like the ultimate versions of his abilities.
Yeah, we're talking now, like I said, if we're talking Johnny Blaze versus like Danny, I think it's Danny Rayo or Rayos or something.
Well, I mean, it would be like, like we were talking, if we're talking Hell King Spawn,
yeah,
then
true.
then yes. If we were talking your normal run of the mill Spawn,
Right. Then
No.
not so much. No.
not so much. If we're talking your God King Hell Spawn,
Then-
no. Like
Yeah.
Omni-Man would not stand a chance. If we're talking like your Spectre from DC or your Dr. Manhattan,
Good luck.
no chance in hell. I mean, he wouldn't even walk into the same building or fly into the same space as Dr. Manhattan.
True. Because he would just obliterate him in probably about 2 seconds.
Even as soon as Omni-Man thought of, I'm going to fight Dr. Manhattan,
Boom.
Dr. Manhattan already knows
He's
that,
gonna
that this is going to happen. So
He's gonna kill
you
you.
automatically know that this is like, and I mean, Spectre is, if you don't know anything about Spectre, I mean, basically he's just as powerful as Dr. Manhattan. So he is, omnipotent, basically magical and physical abilities. He can basically capable of like any feat controlling space, time, reality, matter. He has extensive mastery over any basic superpowers like energy manipulation, superhuman strength, flight, mental abilities. He can induce illusions, hallucinations. I mean, it's basically like he's like Dr. Manhattan for DC. He can basically do anything.
True.
And he has this like religious side of him too, where he does like, he can see your sins and all that other stuff too. But that's a different,
Okay.
But that's what Hell King Spawn does too. I mean, he has soul and sin manipulation too. And then more on more satire than reality. If they had fought, I guess, more on the side of One Punch Man's universe, maybe not so much in the
Invincible. Yeah.
Invincible universe, but One Punch Man, if he was able to get a punch.
Yeah. Real quick. Well, I mean, I get it. I mean, because I haven't really watched the anime, and yes, I understand. Like literally, hence the name One Punch Man. Like literally, it takes one punch and then it.
If he got a punch.
Right. That's what I mean. And that's depending on how quick he is.
If Omni-Man even got his hands on him, it's like done. There's not even a chance. Like if he basically rips his arms off, then no. Like
Well,
you're
not doing anything.
You're not doing much of anything. Like you're pretty much like no punch man.
Yeah, there you go. No punch man. I look at that. You already came up with a joke. There we go.
No, you're no punch man.
You're a no punch man. Hey. But yeah.
I think like, when you're looking at like both fights, it just Homelander came kind of close with the heat vision, but he couldn't keep it going.
Right.
And that was Omni-Man's like one weakness was really like extreme heat.
Right.
is really like Viltrumite's weakness is extreme heat.
Well, hold on. So you know who could beat him then? Cyclops.
But that's if he can keep it going long enough.
Well, it depends on how long we're talking. Well, no, when you look at Cyclops, though, I mean, if you really look at his powers, I mean, technically, his vision is like it's like I think they said it was like from another universe or like another whatever, but it's basically the laser in a sense. But like if he kept it open, now granted, I know it hurts him because it doesn't really like make it any easier for him. But I mean, if he was just to sit there,
But you're talking a straight beam.
true. But I mean, if he got him pretty close, or at least getting him there, and if he's not going to be able to move,
You're talking about a guy who can also fly and is much faster. So if you're talking about a
I
guy
get it.
who also can
No, I'm-
zigzag around one little beam and then rip your head off,
well, okay.
because it's not like he's strong.
No, I understand. I'm just more talking.
I'm
about,
just saying,
I'm just saying, if you could find somebody that can do that for a long time.
maybe like a Red Hulk.
Oh, so it's funny how we mentioned the Hulk, but we said no, he's not going to do it. But the Red Hulk,
Well, the Red Hulk has already an ingrained heat ability.
well, true, and he can once he gets even more pissed. You could just let all that.
The problem with the Red Hulk, which we're actually going to be talking about him in the next episode a little bit.
Oh boy.
But the problem with the Red Hulk is if he does get too hot, that can force him to go back into Ross.
True. That's what I was about to say. Is like he'll basically. It's kind of like
Because he doesn't have like a cooldown method.
yeah.
So if he does get too hot, so that that could be a downfall.
Well, I mean, again, it just depends. So basically, you got to put him in a very hot sauna. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. No, at that point, you might as well just get a sun on him and be like, here you go, bitch. You're stuck here.
But yeah, and then Bardock came. He came close. He matched closer in speed and strength. Especially like when the Saiyan and the Super Saiyan powers came in. He just couldn't match like Omni-Man's experience. And then the resilience and the aggressiveness really just won the battle because he just couldn't. Bardock couldn't keep it going either, and I think that's the one thing about Omni-Man in most of these battles. I think is Omni-Man's ability to just keep pressing forward and keep going.
Well, I mean, you're looking at Bardock again, Super Saiyan, and you're looking at that, and you're like, wow, like these guys also, if I'm not mistaken, they can live for a very, very long time.
Right, but their power, like when they do turn, like their Super Saiyan, like they can't maintain that for.
No, I mean you're right.
Time,
you're right. I mean there is a stopping point. They do go revert back to themselves, and then. But I mean, you look at Goku, who masters these different levels of Super Saiyan, and it's just like it keeps going and going and going and going, and then you're like, where the fuck is this going? And like you go from yellow to blue and all this other crap, and you're like. Okay, so how strong is he now? And then trying to, I feel like the hardest thing is trying to like determine their power levels, especially like, when you're looking at Omni-Man, right, and you're trying to like establish a power level where, Super Saiyan, it's like they just once they can get to a certain point, it's almost like the Hulk. Once they get more pissed, it's like they eventually learn how to get higher than what they already were. But to me, it's hard. It's hard to know like where.
Yeah, and it's not with like I think with Omni-Man, it's not that level of like the more pissed or the more fighting with Omni-Man, it's like from the start of the fight until until realistically he ends the fight.
Right.
It's one strength level.
No, I agree with you, but but again, where's the starting point? Or like where does where's that starting power level at? You know what I mean? Throughout the entire fight, like that's the piece I would like to know because like if it's higher than Super Saiyan or Superman or something like that, like that's the thing you need to know. Like where? I mean,
it's definitely higher. It's definitely higher than the Super Saiyan, but I think with a lot of these fights, he didn't start just flat out fighting.
Well, no, clearly.
He wasn't super aggressive at the start of the fight. I think he allowed the fight to kind of come to him, which is where I think his experience as a warrior was like, I want to see what you got first,
and then I'll determine what I need.
And then determining what I need to do and being strategic and tactical. And I think that's where finding out what was going on. I mean, Homelander literally burned his eyes out of his head, and then. When the smoke cleared, Homelander just kind of came out, and Homelander was like, "Oh, I think I just won." And he, Homelander just, Omni-Man came out of like all of the smoke, and literally, Omni-Man's eyes were already back there, already healed. So it was like he was just like he's basically just like, "Oh shit!"
Like, what the fuck do I do now?
So it's like, yep, yeah, you're pretty fucked right now,
and go fuck yourself. No, I feel like we've done a good job. I mean, yeah, I mean, if you're in the mood to watch this, I think I have so many goddamn list of things to watch because Matt keeps piling them on to me. Eventually, I will catch them all up, but yes, I think this is definitely one I would like to kind of explore a little bit more because I mean, at some point when we talk about The Boys.
I do like the show. For an animated show, it's definitely I wouldn't have your kids watch it.
Absolutely, don't ever do that.
It is very, very violent, very gory. There is swearing.
Okay.
So it's not geared for kids. It's definitely an adult animation, but it is a good show. There are 3 seasons right now. I believe there will be a 4th. I know initial rumors were saying that Spawn might make an appearance, but I believe that's false. But
I mean, who
there
knows?
there will be a 4th season, but there is also another side show that is called Adam Eve. That is
okay.
part of this same universe. So I mean, you can watch that one too.
Have you watched it?
I did, yeah.
Good stuff, or
I mean, it was okay.
not as good as Invincible, clearly.
It wasn't as good as Invincible, no, but
Okay, all right. Well, good to know. So there you go. So now next time you want to watch it, just put it on without your kids there. Just like I said, don't ever watch The Boys. Ready? I'm gonna say this: don't ever watch this show and The Boys, probably with your wives or your significant others of some
well,
sort.
I think.
right?
I mean, I
I'm
think
just being honest. Like if you're gonna
I
watch
think
it,
this
then-
show is a little bit more tolerable
what then The Boys?
than The Boys is. I mean, The Boys, you need to be maybe turn the lights off.
Watch it alone.
Make sure
in the
you're
dark.
alone. Lock your doors. Put your dog in the other room.
Make sure there's soundproofing.
Yeah, make sure that there's no one around.
make sure that nobody can see into your home.
Yeah, make sure that no one can see in your house.
Especially during certain parts.
Yeah.
And don't ever watch it at work. That's all I got to say.
No.
Do not ever watch it at work.
No.
That would be one of the worst shows you ever
No.
do. But anyways, guys, gals, and anything else you want to be called, we're going to be done here. But yes, next week we're going to be talking about the Marvel, some news and other tidbits and whatnot, because I know clearly there's going to be a lot to discuss, as I am already looking forward to, since Marvel is one of our favorite topics.
Yeah, we're gonna probably do more ranting and raving than
So basically bullshitting and basically saying this is fucking stupid and all that fun stuff that Matt and I like to do. So yeah, absolutely.
yeah. It'll be a Marvel discussion episode, but we'll bring some good stuff to you.
Fair enough. But yes, until next time.
Stay geeky, 'cause we're geeks from the multiverse.